4000 BC, Mesopotamians were the first people to note their observations of the heavens and divided a circle into 360 degrees. Also divided each degree into 60 parts called minutes and each minute into 60 parts called seconds. Also built ziggurats that represent the sun, moon, and planets.
Egyptians developed and used astronomy for practical purposes such as developing a calendar to be used for predicting the Nile flood and aligning temples and monuments. In 31 BC, Stonehenge exhibits alignments with the sun and the moon, also helped with predicting lunar and solar eclipses. In 446 BC, the Chinese recorded other astronomical events, such as meteor showers, guest stars, which are exploding stars that suddenly appeared and then gradually faded from sight, and also comets. Thales was a merchant that lived from 624 to 547 BC. He traveled to Egypt to gather ancient knowledge. The Egyptians taught him how to find the distance to a ship at sea by observing the shore and calculating the length of a shadow. Pythagoras lived from 582 to 500 BC. He developed a model for the solar system with two features that marked a permanent break from previous thinking about the universe. By about 500 BC, the Babylonians were able to use the long record of observations to see regularities and patterns in the motions of the moon and the planets. Aristotle lived from 384 to 322 BC. He was a student of Plato, and he accepted the model of Exodus, but modified it to include even more concentric spheres. Aristarchus lived from 310 to 230 BC. Aristarchus applied geometry to the study of astronomy. He showed that it's possible to use geometry to find the distance to the moon and relative distances and sizes of the sun and the moon. Eratosthenes lived from 276 to 195 BC. He used geometry to calculate the size of the Earth. Hipparchus was often called the greatest astronomer of antiquity. In 134 BC, Hipparchus discovered a new star. The Mayans flourished in Mexico and Guatemala between 1,000 and 2,000 years ago. Many Mayan monuments and buildings were aligned to position the sunrise and the sunset at equinoxes and solstices. Ptolemy lived from 100 BC to 170 BC. Ptolemy created the geocentric model of the universe. The Arabs came up with algebra and the concept of zero. They organized the numbers into a decimal system base 10 and came up with variables. Copernicus lived from 1473 to 1543. He came up with the heliocentric model. Brahe, in 1572, observed a supernova in a constellation. In 1577, he observed a comet. He also proved that the supernova never changed and that the comet orbited beyond the path of the moon. Kepler lived from 1571 to 1630. He had two laws. Kepler's first law of planetary motion states that a planet moves in an elliptical orbit with the sun at one focus. His second law of planetary motion states that a planet moves so that an imaginary line connecting the planet to the sun.
Newton lived from 1643 to 1727. He developed the principles of modern physics, and he came up with the three laws of motion.